So this has been a decades-long issue over here on Shasta Drive. We've got multiple complaints from residents about this one house with drugs and guns and people with warrants. Every type of complaint you could think of, people coming and going through their yards, taking stuff from the neighbors, things like that. So we started an investigation. It started really 10 years ago with just coming over for calls for service. We came over here last year, started picking up where we were finding multiple stolen cars here during the week. We attempted to come over, serve some warrants, had to chase people to get warrants served. And so earlier this year, I asked the investigative unit at South to take a look at the nuisance law. We met with the DA, General Funk. We spoke with him about the issues going on over here. And he said, get me the information and we'll do what we can to help you. And the investigative unit at South at that time did an amazing job pulling up incident after incident after incident, 200 plus incidents where the police have responded over here. Multiple warrants served, multiple stolen vehicles taken, guns and drugs and things like that. So it's been a decades-long issue, and we worked with the community over here. We meet with them regularly where they voice their concerns and their frustrations really. And so they're all here to support this event and to support us, and we're here to support them.
And you actually met with the homeowners back in September. What did that conversation look like?
That was actually, I was here, I located a stolen car in front of his house. He pulled up and I got out and spoke with him. I said, Ernie, this is a decades-long problem. This doesn't need to continue. You need to do something about this. You need to straighten this out. Your neighbors are frustrated. You're taxing the police department with all these services coming over here. And he didn't really seem concerned about it. He said there's really nothing he can do about it, and he went on his way.
Talk about how rare it is to issue a padlock on a residence.
Yeah, so this is, I think in my 24 years here, this is the only second one on a house that I believe has been served. The other one was in East Nashville, as I remember. So doing a padlock on a residence is not normal. It's usually businesses that are nuisance businesses, clubs, things like that. Markets that are considering seeing high incidence of crime and things. So a house in a neighborhood like this that's relatively quiet is usually pretty unheard of.
So where do we go from here then? So it gets padlocked, and then what happens from there? Because I've covered, businesses being padlocked, but how does the residence work?
So once they board this up, it'll be padlocked. NDOT will board it up physically. We'll put a sky cop out here so we can see and monitor, make sure no one's going in or out. And it'll go through the court system. So a judge will hear the case. Once they've heard the case, they'll either give him time to straighten it out and move on with life, or if he can't do that, they'll order him to sell.
Was there, I noticed there's a lot of homeless people here, and the homeless advocacy's here. Was there people squatting in the house too?
They weren't squatting in the house. They usually stay in the back. He has a shed back there, and he has a garage that's multiple levels. And so the unhoused people will come over here and they'll stay in the back of the property and come and go as they please. And so that's another issue that was going on over here. Those people would come and go, but they would go through people's yards and take things. And so having homeless impact here to give them services right away is really helpful and really beneficial.
You know how many people?
Go ahead. Well, I just heard that inside the homes was deplorable.
Yes, it's worse than deplorable. Yes, there is. You can barely walk through some spaces. There's, if you've seen the movie or the show's Hoarder, with the little narrow spaces to try to get through areas, it's like that, and it's nasty.
And the smell, sure.
Yes.
Were there animals inside? Because I talked to neighbors who said that they had this strong odor that they would smell just walking from the street.
Yeah, we didn't see any animals inside. There was a pen out back, but there wasn't an animal in there, so I don't know if the animals are gone or where they went, but there weren't any inside when we went in.
Do you know how many people live in there?
Usually just him and his daughter. He does have people that live in the back, and it can vary from time to time. 8 people today. Usually during the week when I come over, there's probably 5 or 6 just hanging out, and so it's hard to tell who's in there, but he lives here with his daughter in that house.
We're talking about kids in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, and so not just the kids in the neighborhood, but the neighbors have been telling us for years that they're afraid to walk down the street. The kids can't come out. They can't walk their dogs. We had a neighbor move because of this house. She'd been here for several years. She was a ex-military, retired from the military and lived here, and she had to leave because she just couldn't take what was going on. So When we first started coming over here, things quieted down a little bit, and people started to come out and feel like they were okay, and then it kind of picked back up. So today I know that a lot of the neighbors are here that I'd love you all to talk to, but just seeing what's going on now, we were up here up the street, and a neighbor came out and yelled "thank you" from the door. So it's amazing to see what one house, how detrimental it can be to a neighborhood like this.
So
Will the homeowner be charged with anything?
Yeah.
Or is he-
We're looking into charges right now. He's going to be interviewed, him and his daughter, and then there probably will be charges.
So what does this mean for other, nuisances, houses in neighborhoods that could be nuisances? What's the possibilities of those being padlocked? I know you said this is rare, but this kind of re-ups that possibility, right? Or what does this mean for them?
So it means that they should know that we're looking, that we have a good relationship with the DA's office, we have a good relationship with codes and NDOT, and if we see that there's a nuisance house, that we will look into everything they're doing and pull everything we can to try to get them to change what they're doing and change their ways.
How do you feel about the outcome today?
This is an amazing outcome. I'm happy that we were able to get in here. No one got hurt. We got the area cleaned out. We've got people that need help getting help, and we're holding the homeowner accountable for what he's been doing for decades.
You talked a little bit about, the smell and just like people being around. Can you just tell me a little bit about the nature of a lot of these calls, these over 200 calls? Was it, noise, just smell, all these people being outside? What was kind of the things that you were constantly seeing people calling and complaining about?
So we were getting calls about gunshots going off. We were getting calls about people loitering in the front yard in the driveway doing drugs openly. We were getting calls about abandoned vehicles in the front of the yard, in the front of the road that were stolen. We took several stolen vehicles out of here. And we also got a lot of calls about suspicious people that we came over, and those people were mostly wanted. We had to chase 5 or 6 out of here a couple months ago that we had a long pursuit down the street. So that's what the nature of those calls.
I thought that was me.
I'm sorry.